this book sitting in front of you, the children had asked some question, and I'm sure in your pairs, and you guys talk about this sometime or ask each other, and one question that keeps coming every single year for years and years, even back all the way to my time, that how come we don't let other non-Ismaili Muslims to come into the Jamaat Khana? Have you ever heard of this question? Or did you ever have this question? The answer is in this book. Or how come we don't have roza like other non-Ismaili Muslims? How come we don't go have a namaz, we have a dua? How come we don't go to Hajj? How come we don't face the Kaaba? Those are all valid questions, and all those questions came from REC
Students.
children.
I think we just talked about Hajj in class, and she said it was like
The seminar we had.
she said that it was one of the 5 pillars, and our teacher, she has read a paper on it, and it said that it was obligatory if you could do it.
Okay,
And
so good.
If you
Yeah.
do, I think if you do Umrah, then Hajj is obligatory.
or like there's this other place
some
where
mandatory.
yeah, you could go some place, I forget what it was, but it counts as doing Hajj 500 times. And I forget
Okay.
what she said.
So,
But
yeah, I got it. Let me put it differently a little bit, okay? Remember, we are here for higher knowledge. We are not here for primary knowledge. Primary knowledge, we have REC centers, right? So knowledge is on 3 levels, okay? Knowledge itself is on 3 levels. Just like school is on 3 levels. Primary, middle, and higher. What you learn in primary is what? ABC, maybe A for apple, right? What happens in the middle school? You start writing small, paragraphs. What happens in high schools? You start writing essays. You can write things, right? In the knowledge, in the true knowledge, you can have a knowledge through a piece of paper, article, book. That's first step. That you're reading something and you're trying to understand on your own. That's it. That's your first primary, elementary level knowledge. Then there is a secondary knowledge, the little bit higher knowledge. And that is the knowledge that you go and do your own research. And then you have a 2, 3, 4 different opinion to compare. And then you see, okay, so this source that I'm reading from is coming from where? If the source is coming from a non-Ismaili, but a Shia, a source is coming from a non-Ismaili, but a Sunni, or a source is coming from a Wahhabi, or source is coming from some other people in some other religion. And you will see all of this knowledge is a little bit different from each other. Right? And Mullah Appa has put this in beautiful farman. There is so much information out there. There's a flood, ocean of information out there. Do not rely on information. From the information you have to take what? The knowledge. And then there is so much knowledge out there. From that knowledge, you have to take out the wisdom. How do we understand that part now? What is Mullah Appa trying to tell us? Everything on the internet is not true. That's what he's saying in simple language that we can understand today. And then Mullah Appa has another farman, and this is from Sultan Muhammad Shah actually. Right? Okay. He says, if you wanted to know about your religion, always learn from your own people first. Then when you go out and have the other information or the other knowledge, you have something to compare to. But if you go empty-handed, without any pre-notion, pre-understanding of your religion, then whatever they will give you, that will become your religion. That will become your religion. Not what your religion is. Alright? So let's talk about Hajj. And even though it's already in this book, you guys can read it yourself. I'm going to go ahead and take that and talk about it for a second. Okay. What is Hajj? A place of God where people say there's a house of the God and we will go over there and visit at least once in our lifetime. And if we do that, and if we can afford to do that, then we should do it. Isn't that also true for Niagara Falls? If you cannot afford to do it, can you go there? All right? So for any place, it is true, if you can afford to do it, then you should do it, right? Because you always had a check box in your bucket list to go look at Niagara Falls or look at Eiffel Tower or, go to Spain or wherever, your mind can go. And you say, one day I will go there if I can do what? Afford it. So that part goes away automatically. Because that is so generic, so vague. Right? Now come to the second part. That there is a house of God. But in Quran, if you look at it, not only in one place, but two places, but three places, multiple places, God will say, wherever you turn your face, you will find me. I live in you closer than your own self. So one of the story that Rumi gives us in his poem, that somebody was going for Hajj. And he says, hey man, where are you running off to? Where are you going? He said, I'm going to go to Makkah to have a Hajj. He said, why are you going there? He said, because Allah's home is in Kaaba. He said, when you go there, are you going to talk to Allah? He said, how can I talk to Allah? I cannot even see him. He said, how funny that is that I am going to, let's take today's example, that I would say I'm going to Rahim's home, but I never knock on the door. I never see the owner of this house, and I never see them either. Can I truly say I have gone to his house? In one place I can say, yeah, I went to McKinney, and I saw this house from outside. I can say, yeah, I went to his house. But did I really went to his house? Why we cannot say that? Because I never knocked on a door, I never saw the resident of this house, and I never spoke to them. So we can say, no, I did not go to his house. So if you go to Khanai Kaaba for Hajj, are you going there to talk to Allah? To see him and talk to him? Or are you just going to go around and around a four wall of brick? What do you think? It's just a four wall and a brick, right? Because Allah is everywhere. So for a smiley, house of God is Jamaat Khana. Now you can say, I've been doing Hajj all my life. Because that's the house of God. Then I will challenge you again. Remember, in this session over here, in this gathering, we are challenging our intellect. Then I would challenge you. When you go to Jamaat Khana, did you knock on a door? Did you see Mulaba? Did you talk to him? And if your answer is no, then what is the difference between you and that guy who was running to the Kaaba? Meaning, the house of God is not how we see and how we think and how we understand. That is not the house of God. So when Allah says, come to the Kaaba or turn your face towards the Kaaba, then He's saying you need to find the house of Allah first and see where is my nur, which house do I reside in. And that house cannot be just a brick and walls. That has to be a living house of God where Allah Nur can reside. So who do you think house of God today is? Okay, your own soul. Good. So you can say, I am the personal world or the house of God. First of all, you are yourself. Then who else can you imagine who has all the nur in him that he can qualify to be house of God? Everyone else. And who else? On the higher level. And the ranks, remember all those ranks? Dai, the Pir, the Imam. Right? So all the universal intellect knowledge or the nur is in whom?
The bull.
Oh, that's
Thank
why
you.
that
Good.
every time Mom passed away, there's another one immediately after.
Yes. You got it.
You see that?
Good job.
Now we are talking about higher understanding of house of God.
So Imam as an idea or Imam as a person?
Okay. So I'm going to answer that in two different ways. Okay? First question is from you. How does Imam become Imam? That should be the question. How does Imam becomes Imam? Now, can you imagine somebody asking this question? How does Imam becomes Imam? Think about it. We've been going to all these schools, all this REC, and your parents been, learning all this. How does Imam becomes Imam? So simple question. And we are Ismailis, we should know. We've been following Imam for centuries now. Right? Alright, so we're going to take up this question first, and that will answer your other question. Okay? Alright. So, let's say that we're going to go back to 1957, where Maulana became Imam. Okay? So, to become Imam, a Imam or the next upcoming Imam need 5 things. 5 things. 2 things out of those 5 are generic, and 3 things are particular. Okay? And we're going to take one at a time. 2 generic things are the love of the Imam of the time. So at that time, who would be the Imam? Sayyidina Moshe. The love of the Imam and the knowledge of the Imam. Why did I call those 2 generic? Because Imam gives that to entire Jamaat. It is generic between the Jamaat and it is common between the upcoming Imam. Those 2 things are common. So we call that generic. Imam gives his love to the Jamaat and also to the upcoming Imam. He gives his knowledge to the Imam and also to the Jamaat. So those 2 are generic or common between the next Imam and the Jamaat. Then it has 3 particular things that Imam needs to become Imam. Number 1 or number 3 in this line, that is Isme Azam, bowl. Remember bowl? We just went for bowl, right? He gives his Isme Azam to the upcoming Imam. Alright, I'm going to stop here because I really want you guys to understand this part. What do you mean his Isme Azam?
It's one of 2 things. Either he gives the one that he currently has to the Imam, or it's everyone has their personal full and he gives them.
Good. Both answers are correct. Imam also give Ismi Azam to the Jamaat, right? But the Ismi Azam the Imam himself has, that is a special Ismi Azam. And he gives that to his next upcoming Imam. So let's say, at that time, in Sultan Moshe time, Sultan Moshe had two sons, Prince Sadruddin and Prince Ali.
Khan.
And then Prince Ali had two sons, Prince Karim and Prince Amin Muhammad. Who do you think he gave his special Ismi Azam to? Out of those four? To Karim, right? I'm sure all the other three also received Ismi Azam. But he gave his own Ismi Azam, special Ismi Azam, to next Imam. So that's number 3. So we covered the Ismi Azam in two senses. One, he gives to the Jamaat, and one, a special, his own Ismi Azam to upcoming Imam. So he has that. So now he has a 2 generic thing, 1 special thing. Now he needs 2 more things before he becomes Imam. Right? So next thing he needs is his progeny. So this one right there, that is the most important until we get to the number 5. His progeny, meaning no one can become Imam unless he is in the progeny of the previous Imam. Alright, just to understand the example, no one claimed to be Imam. No one can claim to be Imam unless they are in the progeny, direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad and Ali, down all the way to Sultan Muhammad Shah and then Shah Karim. So going forward tomorrow, we can certainly say no one can become Imam unless he is the direct descendant of Shah Karim. Right?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. Progeny is the most important thing here. The reason we put importance on this one, because remember, everybody can have this one. Everybody can have this one. Also, everybody has Ismi Azam. But not the special Ismi Azam. But people do have Ismi Azam, right? Mullah will give to all of us too. What we don't have, the progeny.
So you can't, if you marry into that family, is that even possible? No?
No? Imam's son.
Heir of the family.
No, like if you marry and you have family with them and then...
Okay, how's that? Okay. So let's say Princess Zara, she married Mark Borden, so he became son-in-law of Hazrat Imam, right? Is he the progeny of Malapa?
No.
No.
But their kid would?
No. So her,
No, they're still not progeny.
How?
Okay, so let's
they're
see.
coming from a different year.
Okay, let's let one person speak so we'll understand it, right? Why don't you tell? It's okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Mark Boyden, he's a father. Princess Zara is the mother. When they both come together, and then there are children, right? So they are not from Ale Muhammad Aulad Ali, the way we say. Ale Muhammad Aulad Ali. They have to be from the progeny of Prophet Muhammad and from Maula Ali. Mark Boyden is not from that progeny. So the children are sharing from Mark Boyden and Princess Zara. So when there is sharing, it's not a pure bloodline. Okay? The Noor has been traveling from Ali Muhammad Aulad Ali. It has to be direct descendant. It cannot be indirect descendant.
So, for example, take the example right here. Take the example right here. So, your last name always be same as his last name. Her last name be his last name until when?
She
So
gets
what happens
married.
at that time?
Changes.
Yeah. So her children's last name would be
Their fathers.
whoever the father is. She is no longer, Rahim cannot say, that is my direct progeny. But your children, he can say, that's my direct progeny.
Okay.
Right?
So here's
So
the
now we
thing.
understand.
So one thing is, I think by explaining all this thing, one thing is clear,
that Imam cannot be a woman,
Cannot
No.
be.
right?
Yeah.
So that's explains that.
And,
Two.
and that question is also answered in this.
The good thing about these books, it's a very simple language. Yes.
He asked this question.
Yes. Yes.
All the questions that children can think and have asked is in these books. So the problem is not that Princess Zahra cannot become Imam. That is not the problem actually.
She can.
Because Princess Zahra is direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad and Maula Ali. But the problem starts after that. That her children will not be Nuran ala Nur, direct progeny of Prophet Muhammad and Maula Ali. That's where the problem starts.
So that will, the continuity won't happen.
It will not
if,
happen.
If she is a
Right.
woman.
So, saying that women cannot be Imam is not entirely true. But the problem starts after that. You know? क्योंकि after that, नूरन अल्लाह नूर का जो concept है ना, वो टूट जाता है.
But then, as you say,
Yeah.
okay, it's not that she cannot be mom.
But after that, what will happen?
But then
After
you're
that,
not
there
gonna
is
have a
Yeah.
next
तो इसीलिए वो
month.
नहीं हो सकती है. इसलिए वो नहीं हो सकती है. So when this is our second class, remember we were talking about second session, fourth meeting, 10th meeting. Somewhere in 10th meeting, write down the question. You guys need to have a book. Ask me, is Princess Zahra has any ranks in religion? And then we will cover that. Okay? In 10th class. So, the most important thing was the progeny. It has to be progeny. And if this is correct, and if you stop here, and if you don't consider the fifth thing, and let me tell you the problem that we would have. Everybody could have Imam's love. Everybody would have Imam's knowledge. Even Ismailis could have Imam's Ismi Azam. Progeny, there could be multiple brothers
And sister.
and sisters. So up to this point, multiple people qualifies. But when we apply the fifth condition to this, then everything is clear. And that is Amr, the will, the order of the Imam of the time. He decides, only him, who's going to be the next Imam. And that we call it in English will, in our language, Amr. Remember Amr se ayo? That is the Gnan.
And the new
He's saying that he comes to us with the will of the Imam. That is the Gnan. And without the will, this Imam cannot become Imam, even if he's in the progeny of the Imam. Even if he has that Ismi Azam. Even if he has the Imam's knowledge and the love. So this is like a seal on all this four. Right? That's how Imam becomes Imam. So I hope and I think that answers your question.
The idea of the Imam you were saying, remember?
Idea.
The idea or the person.
I was going between, like, that clears up like why he's Imam itself, but is the Imam as an Imam perfect or as a person is he perfect?
Good question. So
Okay.
person and with the Nur.
Okay. So, and I want you guys to be a thinker. Don't just let me finish something without lacking of important knowledge. I just finished that 5 thing. I'm waiting for somebody to ask me a question, and I'm going to wait until the end. If you guys don't, then I will ask questions from you. Because there was one important thing that I did not say out of these 5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So, your question. Imam as a human, okay, we call that Isme Zat in our language. In English, it would be embodied. So, Imam as an embodied human may have, okay? He gets sick, From childhood, he gets older. He even may get weak as he, have when he's 100-year-old. All the human weakness have in him. Human weakness. But because of his strong soul and the nur in him, that makes him a different human than us. And you will say, but he does not look different to me. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Okay? Have you ever seen a bamboo stick and sugarcane stick? What is the difference between those two? Just by looking at it.
One's a lot crustier.
They are exactly same. No different by looking at it. Mm-hmm. Bamboo stick and sugarcane stick, they look exactly same until you pick it up.
I was going to say the weight.
When you pick it up, you will see one is hollow. There's nothing inside. It's called bamboo stick. And one has a sugarcane inside. It will be much heavier than this one. As a human, we are an example of bamboo stick. An imam is like a sugarcane. What does he have inside? The nur. On the surface, we look just like him and he looks just like us. But don't make a mistake. He's not like us at all. Because he has what? The nur in him. Our second example is a bee. Honey bee and regular bee. What does honey bee does? Honey bee is full of honey. And what about the regular bee? Bumblebee. Full of poison. But look, same. They both look same. You see the examples? Imam as an embodied nur is the perfect man.
Subhanallah.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Acha. So, what did I miss over here?
Okay, you want to talk about that?
No, will ho gaya, sab ho gaya. How does nur transfer?
Thank you. Because if you don't have a critical thinking, you will miss so much knowledge.
Yes.
How does nur come? So now question is, how does nur come? When does nur come? If I say the nur comes when previous imam gives his Isme Azam to Hazir Imam or the next upcoming imam,
He's an imam.
then what about the previous imam? He's no longer imam?
No, but I think it happens at the passing.
Okay,
when
if we say
soul
this
and body-
later one, it happens at the time of the passing, then what does it happen? Like magically, like nur comes out of him and drops into him. तो आ जाते हैं इसके इंटरप्रिटेशन पर. फर्स्ट हाउ एंड व्हेन. ओके, जब इमाम, सबसे पहले जेनरिकली बात करेंगे, जस्ट टॉक जेनरिकली फर्स्ट. व्हेन इमाम गिव्स अस इसमें आज़म, why do we go to imam for isme azam when you can have the same isme azam from Quran? Or if you have those 99 names of Allah in your home somewhere, you can just pick one from there and you have your isme azam. Why do we go to imam for isme azam? Because he is the nur. He puts his nur and his prayers in this Isme Azam as a package, and he gives to you. Like this bag and the books inside. What did you do after that? You took the book out. What else are you going to do after that? You're going to open the book and you're going to read it. What are you going to do after that? You're going to understand those books. What are you going to do after that? You're going to ask questions. When this book came in the paper bag, was all the knowledge you would have, let's say by tomorrow, after you read and understand and ask question, was that already in this book or not? It was already there.